Hello, and welcome to Wyverns Weirdos Fathomless, a D&D podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I am your Dungeon Master Darby, and joining me as always are Mitch playing Nerys, Joe playing Alton, and Laura playing Rue. Let's jump into it. So, where we last left off, the party investigated the situation in Oceania, on the island of Acherin, meeting a strange automaton of sorts on the island, who seemed to be a bit of a standout amongst the otherwise all 𝘬𝘬𝘪𝘆 population of the settlement. They discovered the person that they were looking for, but in doing so they discovered that something might be a bit strange, in that he's apparently been there all along, been in no danger, and just hasn't been in contact for various reasons, he claimed. Meanwhile, Nerys and Tibble went to speak with the mayor, at which point Tibble revealed himself not to be Tibble, but a Ooze replacement, an 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆, by attacking Nerys and trying to drain his memory, doing so partly successfully, leading the wizard to run out of the town hall, where he caught up with Alton, Nyzen, and Rue, the automaton, and briefly discussed the issue before they were interrupted by the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆, displaying the forms of Tibble, the mayor, and one other figure that Nerys and Alton you did not recognize, but Rue, as a villager, you would have. And I have told you that in between sessions, so but that is where we leave off, and we're going to start by getting everyone to roll initiative. Nyzen did not roll well. I'm just going to put...
It was nice knowing you, Nyzen.
Initiative is not everything in this situation. Alton.
Feeling solidarity, Alton rolled an 8.
Oof. Nerys?
Nerys also got an 8.
And Rue?
Rue got an 18.
Okay. The 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆, fittingly for how shocking this is, did win initiative. However, it is not particularly fast, so it goes to approach you, but you're probably about 30 feet away, so it does have to use its action to get within range, so it cannot attack. Alright. Next is Rue.
Okay, so Rue was sort of like still crouching and had withdrawn their arm when Nerys kind of wasn't having it. and they sort of rear back a bit in their position, and the light behind the mask seems to brighten in an alarm. They look like, okay, yes, I can confirm this is not normal. Shit, fuck, we should move. If what he says is true, and this can be spread, we should retreat, we should run. And then Rue will immediately kind of stand up to their full 7-foot height, arms spread out. Again, they look very shaken, which is unusual for the sort of person they are. If anyone's ever seen those before, I'm not sure. And he sort of turns his head slightly to both Nerys and to Alton, and is like, "How far is your boat ship?"
Too far.
Too far. Okay. I reside in a dwelling on the outskirts of the forest. It is strong. We can retreat there and assess damage. A friend may help. And Rue is going to, again, looks at the Oblaks, like these horrible tendrils sprouting out of the little mouse captain and 2 avian people that Rue knows, to some regard. And with, again, just kind of shaking a bit, sort of just shakes their right hand, and a long shining blade just shoots out of somewhere. Impossible, too long to have been concealed there, just shoots out of somewhere, just above where their wrist is. And they just stand there in guarding, and they are going to hold an action, I guess, but with their other hand they're going to point in a general direction of where they should run.
Okay,
and I'll message you what they're going to hold. Okay, I'll message it to you right now.
Thank you. And don't forget, you do need the trigger for that as well. Yeah. Okay. Next is, I believe Alton has the higher dex between Alton and Nerys, because they both tied. But Alton, you get to go first of the two.
Yeah, okay, so Alton would have taken several steps back at seeing this rather horrific sight. But as Rue speaks, he's kind of there's his teeth, and he goes to go for his gun, but then he looks to Rue and he looks to Nerys and the condition that Nerys is in. Says, yeah, shit indeed. No, that sounds like the best course of action we've got. Alright, Nerys, you come with me, okay? And I guess he's just gonna I don't know, it's hard in initiative order, but I guess run 20 feet in the direction that Rue pointed. But while he's doing this, he's kind of get out one of his guns and start loading it.
Okay. So 20 feet you're going?
Yeah, no, it's full speed.
Okay. As you go out of its range, the Oblaks is going to attempt to eat your memories as an attack of opportunity, as a thread of ooze reaches out towards you and makes purchase on your shoulder. Can you roll me a wisdom saving throw, please?
No, that's a 9.
Okay, so you take 10 points of psychic damage, and until I say otherwise, you have your memory drained and so you feel foggy, and as such you must roll a d4, subtract the number rolled from any ability check or attack roll you make.
Okay. Fuck, get off me!
Yeah. Okay. Nothing else you want to do on your turn?
I guess that could trigger him trying to shoot since he hasn't taken an action.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just used your movement so far.
Yeah, he loads his pistol, he immediately gets hit. reels for a moment and is just going to try to wildly fire some shots.
Yeah. Okay, roll to hit. Don't
I thought that was a 1. Nope, it's a 7.
Roll me a d4 to subtract from that.
Okay. So 17 take away 4.
That misses,
13
unfortunately.
to miss. Yeah.
That first shot.
First one goes wide. Second one, 23. 22 to hit.
22, that's going to hit. So the first one, you're still reeling from this memory draining effect and completely go wide, and then you kind of shake your head and go for another shot, and clear as day it hits into this ooze.
Take that. That's 10 points of damage.
Alright.
And then a final shot for his bonus action.
Yeah.
The other pistol. That's a 24 to hit.
24 minus the...
Yeah, that was
That
minus
was
1.
minus the d4. Yep, that'll hit.
So that's 12 points of damage.
Alright. Not too bad. Then, Nerys, it is your go.
A direction has been pointed out. Nerys would like to follow directions. So he's going to back away from this creature, this ooze monster. Give a quick glance over at our new friend, and seeing they don't necessarily seem to be trustworthy, but at least are panicked. That is enough for Nerys at the moment. So he is going to wave his hands around in the air and have both his hands cover his ears, and after he's finished waving his hand, a third spectral hand appears which covers his mouth and nose as he casts Mage Hand and runs 30 feet in the direction that was pointed out.
Alright. Next is Nyzen, who is just gonna bolt. Actually, no, he is gonna try to make a... Yeah, Rue's still there, so he's gonna start by making an... he's gonna use his multi-attack. So that is gonna be an 11, so that's gonna miss. And the second one is a 17, which hits. Because Rue's there, he gets his sneak attack in. So that is 16 points of damage that he does to the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪 before using his cunning action to dash away and get 60 feet away from the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪s. Right. Next, we are back to the top of initiative and the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪's turn. It is going to make 2 pseudopod attacks against Rue. Which I rolled a 1 and a 3 on the dice. So even the highest one is a 9.
So Rue probably, because they're probably not that dexterous, but instead he just bats at it with the sort of arm blade that he has currently.
Okay.
So it probably just slices off parts of the little pseudopods.
Well, we can incorporate that into your attack action because it is your go.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do an attack. So first off, I'm going to bonus action cast a little cheeky spell that is part of my blade.
Yep.
And the blade is going to sort of start to heat up.
Yes.
Yes. And so it's this little sizzling of hot heated energy of air around it as Rue reacts and slices into these pseudopods. So I rolled hit. Okay, so first hit is a 16 to hit.
That just hits.
just hits. Cool. So that's 1d8 plus 4, so 6 points of damage plus. Hang on. How many? 1 plus 1d6 of fire damage. Plus 6 points of fire damage.
All right.
From Searing Smite.
All right. And then you have.
And I have a second attack, so there we go. Cool. So that's
yes, because this character isn't multi-classed.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a 21 to hit, so that will definitely hit. And that is a 6 plus 4. So 10 points of slashing damage. I'm just going to double check. I don't know if Searing Smite happens twice. I believe it does, because it's
no,
fiery.
it's just one attack.
First time.
It's your first attack.
There we go.
Okay, so
Easy.
how much damage was it?
So 10 points of slashing damage.
Alright. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. And I think that's all Rue can do.
Alright. You're not gonna
Get out, follow the path.
You're not gonna try to bolt away yourself.
Rue also move. Like that. Rue will move, but Rue will not run faster than everyone else. They will just keep directing along like kind of like a winding cobblestone path that sort of seems to veer sharply away from the road.
The _𝘓𝑥 has had its go, so it gets its reaction back, so it's going to use an attack opportunity on you. And it's going to do it's intelligent, so it is going to do a 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆 attack rather than try to eat your memories.
We've been trying to for a while. I just haven't noticed.
It does have disadvantage though, for reasons. But that doesn't really help when I roll a 16 and a 17.
That's fine.
So that's a 22.
What's the total? Yeah, that
Nothing
hits.
you can do to.
Nope.
All right.
I can't negate that one.
So that is going to be 20 points of bludgeoning damage. And 7 points of psychic damage.
Okie dokie. And just like they just kind of like shake, like some kind of like weird sort of like warping sort of like a little bit of air around them sort of seems to shake.
All right. Alton, is your go.
Okay, I'll just call out. Hang in there, Rue. We need you to show you. We need you to show us where to hide. And then Alton will just hold his action to dash at the pace of Nerys.
All right. So do you use your movement to get that to meet that 10 feet though, as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Then it is Nerys's go.
Yeah, so Nerys is running. He does look behind him. He sees Rue get hit again, and his eyes do flick down to the little satchel bag that's banging on his hip. But he almost recoils his hand away from it, like he doesn't want to touch it, and is just going to spend his movement just running and dashing.
All right.
He'll replace the hand back over his ear again.
Okay.
He's just like hunched over and just like sprinting.
And Alton, you dash to meet his pace. The two of you basically catching up to where Nyzen is. He's gonna just throw off some daggers. It's probably not gonna be, not enough to hit. And then after that, he's gonna be out of range. But he goes another 60 feet. Next is the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆. The 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆 is going to Nerys. You notice the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆 taking the form of one of part of the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆 that takes the 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆's taking the form of a feminine-looking 𝘬𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪, or 𝘬𝘬𝘪𝘀, in almost priestly garb, and starting the motions of casting a spell. And unless there's something you want to do about that, I am going to need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Nerys is going to go through the motions of beginning to cast Counterspell, and then he remembers, oh, that's right, I had a very long and fruitful discussion with Loren. So he cannot do that. So we're just going to make a wisdom saving throw.
You are good at these.
Actually, yeah, he is. He's not great at them, though. He is going to kind of flick his eyes a little bit off to the right and up a little bit. And then he's just going to sort of close his eyes and adjust his stance a little bit to try and brace for this impact that he knows is going to come. So he is going to use one of his portents, but he's not sure if it's going to work. So that he's going to make it a 19.
That is enough to save on this this hold monster spell. And yeah, you are able to just repel this magical effect. And that it's going to move about 20 feet forward, and Rue, it is your go.
It also needs to make a Constitution saving throw of 13 to meet of 13. I think it will make it since it's a disgusting monster, but you know, if it doesn't, it gets more fire damage.
Oh. Is this while you're concentrating on the spell?
Yes.
Just for future.
Because I got hit. Yes.
Yes.
I'll roll for it.
You didn't get hit. Oh, you got hit for a bit. You got. It was.
I got.
I've still got the damage up.
That.
So the DC is 13. It's a con save 13.
I rolled a natural 19. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So Searing Smite's still up.
And
they have to be a con save of 13. So,
yeah. That's a 15.
That makes it. That's fun.
Yeah.
The fire fizzles out.
All right. Does it fizzle out, or does it just not take damage?
We'll save the spell ends. So
Okay.
yeah, it's gone.
All right.
Oh well. Okay. So, yes. So, Rue looks over where they're all running on. Just keep following the path, closer to the forest. And they're going to start running to keep pace with the others as well. Is what they will do. But they are going to, as they're running for their action, I guess, they're going to, with the hand that doesn't have the blade on it, they're going to throw that hand back. And sort of like, if anyone was looking at him, the like light behind the sort of like eyes of the mask just suddenly like flashes in like a bunch of different colors, and then that same kind of like flashing light sort of just like blasts out of his left hand and just like soars towards this little effigy of this 𝘬𝘬𝘪 as Rue casts Chaos Bolt.
Nice.
So I rolled to hit. Hang on. So that is that's a 16 to hit.
That just hits.
Cool, awesome. So that's, hang on. Gotta remember what sort of damage that is. I gotta roll on a table. So 1d8. Let's have a look. So that's going to be 5, which is lightning damage. So 2d8 of lightning damage. 2, yes. Sorry, everyone, getting used to this character. New character. 1 and 4. Okay, so 5 points of lightning damage. And yeah, they're just going to run to keep pace with everyone else.
And at the end of your turn, you feel a rumbling in the ground. All three of you feel this rumbling as emerging from the surface with a great leap is this massive metallic, almost like a hybrid between a shark and some sort of boar or similar quadruped Laura, would you like to introduce us to Ham?
Yes. So as Rue kind of like looks slightly to the right, like as this like ground sort of like bursts out of like with earth, as this 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 jumps out of a small 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 jumps out of the earth, Rue goes, the friend. So yeah, Ham is like a 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪. So a smallish one, I'd say. Yeah, same as W described. Yeah, metal. Like a weird cross between a metal shark and a boar. They like, yeah, big sort of like flat sort of like beaky kind of like face. There's like teeth. There's a lot of teeth. And it just like leaps out of the like the ground like a shark or a dolphin might leap out of water. And yeah, I can imagine like if people are picturing just a general 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪, they would probably have like more of a sharky type fin. And a couple of like little dents and scratches like in the like the armor plating as well. I don't know if anyone's seen a regular 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 before, but it's smaller than a regular one. But yeah,
still quite still reasonably large
still
as a creature.
Fairly large. Yeah.
Like it is still mechanically a large creature, but it's on the smaller side of large, whereas I would say a regular 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 is to the medium size of large. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Laura has a mini there. I have
it's a pretty scary
mini here.
Yes. My baby boy.
Yes.
So that's Ham.
Yes.
Welcome, Ham.
And
yes.
I love Ham already.
yeah, this 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 just lands and takes on a sort of protective stance in front of the four of you.
Good timing, Ham, as always.
And
just like the point like dirt just scatters everywhere. It's a little minor eruption, earthquake has happened.
Alton, anything you want to do on your turn?
Okay, ally, good. And he's gonna dash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerys?
At the same pace as Nerys.
So Nerys is going to look at that and reach into his satchel at this stage and then see that Rue is not panicky. Like, excellent, cool. And is instead just going to dash as well. Attempting to outpace Alton, but not.
No. Okay, and Nyzen's just going to bolt. I think at this stage, seeing the group that you are, the 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘪 is going to just disengage and just retreat and regroup. And we're going to come out of initiative as you all continue to bolt towards Rue's home. Which...
Goodness.
Yes. So eventually... yeah. You reach a point where the ground is covered, the wooden thatched, close-knit buildings and island shrubbery and farmland animals. It all gives way to more overgrown grassland and reeds, and in the near distance a dark forest. And there is a stone cobbled house surrounded by hillier earth and blackened near-gone trees. As you get closer, outside the house are some brief details, since everyone's in a hurry, but there are just little flashes that you'll each notice. Heavy moss growing over cold stone, dark smoke winding from the chimney, a long line of sea breeze, worn string with bells tied to it, and maybe a flash of the bones of a small creature or two. What looks like dried out reeds and herbs. There's a heavy wooden door which isn't too difficult to unlatch as it's unlocked. And inside it's fast, a bit crowded.
And so Rue kind of just ushers everyone immediately in. The blade just sort of disappears. I assume that he sort of just manages to like usher everyone immediately in, and then kind of like once everyone's in, Ham probably stays outside, probably looking hungrily at the Oblex as it retreats. Rue sort of just slams the latch down, and then with like a lot more of a fluid sort of movement than you'd expect from a 7-foot tall person, sort of peers outside this sort of like thick green tinted glass window next to it.
You notice the inside is a bit more crowded, but quite cozy amongst the long shadows. There's a big brick fireplace packed full of glowing coals and some dark oil lanterns hanging around, pulsing a strange blue light. There are wooden bookshelves and cabinets everywhere, neatly collected shells, a model ship, what looks just like junk, more strings of herbs and onions and garlic, and what looks like large hunks of cured meat, pots and pans, paintings of figures, and trees, and someone with avian features. There's a dusty couch near the fireplace and a low table with what looks like a large map on it. Beyond that, there seems to be another room or two, as well as an upper level ladder which seems to reach up to a small open loft bed, though from here it appears unused. Thank you to Laura for providing those descriptions of Rue's abode ahead of time.
Yes, that's what. So yeah, it's kind of like it's still quite dark. It's like, but yeah, there's lots of little lanterns and things like that, and just a little jumble of like lots of different things everywhere. Somewhat dusty. And then Rue kind of like withdraws from the window, and then is like, I do not think they have followed. And then they sort of straighten up and like look back over at everyone. What are they all doing?
Alton would have, like, as soon as he entered the building, just kind of like slumped to the ground, like probably like slide down a wall, not even making it to the couch or anything, and just kind of like panting, like trying to catch his breath. He's kind of got like one hand on like his clutching his like abdomen, and just like breathing heavily. So, great.
You are safe for now. Catch your breath. We should assess damage and run tests.
What the fuck was that thing?
Yeah,
a tentacle bullshit thing. I'm not too sure, actually. One of them was your captain? Or an amalgamation of your captain? An image?
It was not... I don't believe it was the captain. There was... It mentioned something. Nerys also is kind of leaning against like a support beam or something or other. He's also incredibly unfit and is not okay with having to run. So he's kind of looking down at the ground and kind of half looking up at everyone else. This creature mentioned something about joining the captain in the ground. I think our captain has been taken.
Yes, sleeping under the ground, it said. That does sound strange.
Keeping him alive to copy or something? Unless that's just a metaphor.
The small captain spoke that they were called Oblex. I have not heard that word before. But it is very strange.
Actually,
The others
Darby,
beside them were our mayor and Sister Quick of Acherin Church. I do not see the correlation here. Please sit down if you are both wearied. You have run fast in a small distance, or the opposite. You have done very well.
And Rue sort of like turns and like sort of they don't seem to be like the roof is fairly tall, but not in the tall in the way that's clearly made for Rue. So they're sort of like hunched a little bit. They've kind of just got their little hands in front of them as they are now just sort of like seem to be relaxing for what his form of relaxed is a bit, I guess.
Just quickly, Darby.
Yes.
I believe Oblex are from the Underdark. Can Alton roll like a history track, whether he would have come across any knowledge about them before?
You can roll me either a history or an arcana.
Okay.
I was actually going
Nerys can roll me
Nerys is research.
either a history or an arcana to see if there's
I got a 14 arcana.
14. And Nerys?
Nerys got a 17.
17. Okay.
That was history
okay.
for Nerys as well.
And Alton was arcana?
Yeah.
Okay. Alton, you've heard of experiments that certain drow mages that are a bit less on the ethical side have done involving oozes and gelatinous creatures, gelatinous life forms, and enhancing the capacities and the capabilities of these creatures, these somewhat amorphous creatures. Often with psychic or psionic abilities.
Excellent.
Nerys, for a 17 on history, you've heard rumors and tales of and like combined with your actually, you should we'll say you're having your short rest, so you should probably technically have rolled your d4s for those. So yeah, roll me a d4 each, please. Forgot about that.
So that turned out mine to a 12.
12. Yeah.
Whatever mine was, -2.
-2.
So 15.
Okay, so you probably wouldn't know most of what I said then, Alton. You would have heard rumors of people experimenting with oozes, but the exact details of it is not really something you maybe paid attention to as much. Nerys, you probably have heard stories of oozes with strange mental powers, rumors of people losing memories, and it's quite possibly consistent with what you have seen and experienced here thus far. Neither of you have come across Oblexes specifically.
Nerys will relay what information he knows to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a fucked
That
up
is
ooze experiment.
curious. An experiment.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be happening up here. So you had no idea that this was going on then, Rue?
No, I have not noticed anything like this before. Strange things have occurred in the past here on Acherin that have been disappearances, and a few times I have observed unusual behavior from the local wildlife. But I suppose more importantly, I have noticed the inhabitants here behaving more strangely for a while, perhaps a few months since. Not everyone, but some. They all appeared brighter, but ventured out less, as I mentioned. I haven't been venturing out much lately myself, so I can't really throw stones there. It's strange, the person you sought, the stranger and visitor 𝘙𝘀𝘭𝘪𝘆, he did also seem brighter when we visited him.
And then Rue kind of like turns and then sort of like cocks his head, looking from both Alton to Nerys. And they are going to do like kind of like a latent like insight thing to like, they're just taking note of like, Alton looks fucked. Nerys also looks fucked. But in different ways. And they sort of like seem to like be registering something. Or they're like,
you also mentioned there appears to be a smell present that is stronger. My sense of smell is not very good due to this.
He like kind of like taps the beak of the plague mask he's wearing.
And for some other reasons. Where has this been observed? Can it be smelled here?
Can it be smelled here?
Just sort of like look around.
Yeah,
look like they're, like,
there's
sniffing.
no strong sense of sulfur here.
Seems good here. 𝘍𝘬𝘭𝘪, though, he did smell like sulfur.
That is strange. You were wrinkling your nose a little bit then. I did notice that.
And Rue kind of like awkwardly kind of moves past them to sort of like, there's a little fire that's still kind of like glowing a bit, and they sort of like turn over the embers a bit to sort of like make the fire blaze up a bit more, and then sort of like gestures to dusty looking couch, dusty covered looking chairs. And then again sort of like casts a glance over at the window, but then just turns back.
It's very strange.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Alton kind of like locks himself up. Probably if you're looking close, you probably notice his hands are trembling a little bit. It's like, Nerys, right, let's get you healed up. How are you
yes,
feeling?
you should run a medical assessment.
If it appears that we are safe, that would be most appreciated.
How's he looking? Emotionally and physically?
That's a question.
Emotionally, he's actually sort of hold himself up a little bit better than what he was before. He's thinking about the words that he says before he speaks, as he normally does when he's on the ship. He's focusing more. He's sort of retained his or regained sort of active control of his breath. And he's become a little bit more alert, and he's looking around at his surroundings, kind of taking mental notes. Physically, he is... you notice when anyone is talking, he does tend to favour his left ear to listen. And he has every now and then kind of brushed up against his right ear, which is where you notice like a little bit of blood that was coming out before. And other than the fact that he is recovering from being incredibly winded as well. Yeah, so physically he's not looking great, but mentally he seems to be shoring himself up.
All right. Let's run you through some tests. That is your head hurting much?
A bit. It is. almost like there are needles in my head that are preventing me from seeing properly. Well, not seeing properly like you all do, but seeing differently. That creature did something to me. Took something from me.
You mentioned you seem to be suffering some kind of memory loss.
Everything before now is foggy. I don't know. I can piece together what happened, but I cannot make notes of things. Something is wrong.
Yeah, I can feel that a little bit too. I don't know if that's some kind of magical effect of whatever it did, or if it's just, the shock of what happened there. Alright, I'll get you fixed up. I think Alton would probably just start taking him through some neurological tests. So he's looking at his eyes, he's checking his balance, checking his memory, etc. And then at the end, probably give him some painkillers. So that's 14 extra HP for Nerys with the healing feat.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I have nothing to offer you. I saw you were hit as well. Are you okay?
Yeah, it'll come good. Honestly, the run was worse. Like this foggy-headed sensation. I just get this on bad days generally. The run's just gonna make everything worse. But yeah, I'll start working on myself now. No need to worry. How are you doing, my fine, tall friend?
I'm in some pain, but I can heal that, so that is fine. I will sort this. Are you speaking figuratively when you say you are still in pain? Is that a persistent thing or a new thing?
Oh, I mean, no, it's pretty persistent.
Do you require healing?
No, I can work through it myself. I'm a doctor, I am. I know how to handle things. It's been a couple of centuries. But thanks.
I see.
And Rue swivels, turns their head to look over at Nerys, who I presume is looking a lot better, because I'm pretty sure that was pretty much the hit points that he lost. I can't remember. He's just been healed.
And your pain has abated?
I am fine for now. Thank you both for your assistance, both before and now as well. Friday. This is, and he's been sort of looking around at his surroundings. If you don't mind me saying so, this is a very unique house. How long have you been here for?
Yes. Well, this is not my house originally. I have been on the island for 18 years. This was the house of my father figure, 𝘧𝘬𝘁. I have been here for that time. I'm not certain how long he has been there. But yes, it belonged to 𝘧𝘬𝘁 song, and another lost, but 𝘧𝘬𝘁 has left now too. I have waited for 3 years, but it's just me now. Most of these belongings are not mine.
And they sort of gesture to little bookshelves and Yeah, just like a lot of like just different things, like bookshelves, little like knickknacks, carvings. There's like a map kind of like laid out sort of on the table near the couch. So that seems to have been touched a little bit more. But then they sort of just shrug. But yes, and they're like, but yes, it is a good house, and if but a quiet one. And they kind of like the little light like kind of dims behind their eyes for a bit. They look contemplative.
So this asset is the one that left on the ship with the wolf on the flag, right?
Yes, that's right. 3 years ago now. He left on a boat with a sail bearing a wolf on it. People from it arrived on the island and had discussions. I did not know any of them, but he left with them, did not say why. He said he would return, but it has been a very long time now.
Alton kind of makes a yikes, he's probably dead expression to Nerys, but then goes, ship with a wolf flag, ring any bells? Been on the seas much longer than me.
Yeah, Nerys is going to pull out, reach into the satchel and pull out one of his notebooks that he's got a list of all the ships that he's encountered in the past, including ones that like other members of the crew have mentioned on their interviews, if Nerys has been a part of those. I'm assuming a wolf is not an uncommon motif on a sail. But is there any mention of that? Has Nerys come across anything or heard tales of a ship bearing a wolf?
Roll me a history check.
Potentially one that 3 years ago needed extra crew. That is a 19.
You know of probably several that have borne a wolf, but there's none that strike your memory as having gone through any sort of major recruitment 3 years ago.
None that come to mind. I shall keep an ear out, so.
I appreciate it. You have sailed a fair time?
And Britt looks at all three, like at Nerys and Alton and Nyzen. Again, just kind of like little hands in front, like kind of stooped in this much house built for an avian folk.
We all have some experience. Do you have any experience, any gestures to the model ship on the banister?
Yeah, Rue kind of like glances at it.
I'm not sure. I have been here on the island for 18 years, but only awake for 15. It is extremely likely that I've lived longer than this, and perhaps I do have sailing experience. I am presently theoretically my 5th self, but I don't know of it. So regrettably, no. Though I have been curious.
And then Rue kind of like stretches like a little clawed hand out towards the map that's on that little table, and is like, and then points to like the boat that Nerys was gesturing to as well.
I found these while taking stock of Vezit's things one day after he left. I am not proud of it. I have probably traveled beyond this island, but I cannot remember, so the map is... I only wonder if it's a clue, perhaps. Or something else exciting. This island is quite small when you've been on it for so long. Obviously, of course, especially so when the locals are sprouting tentacles, apparently.
Yeah. Maybe if you're thinking of traveling elsewhere, around now would be the time to do it.
Perhaps so.
This map that's on the table, is it of this area? Of the Isles, or is it somewhere different?
It is hard to tell. It's not immediately obvious. There's probably some elements to it that there's probably some elements to it that if you took the time to study it, you could probably work out where it actually is indicating, but at a glance it's not obvious.
Yeah. Is it like a map of like a sea route, or is it like a map of like a land area?
It seems to be a land area.
Okay.
Mostly. There is some sea to it. But it seems to be indicating the location of something. What that something is, you don't know.
Regrettably, I have been only trained in medical things since I have been on this island, so I am not good with maps.
Is that large blades that came out of your arm part of your medical training?
Rue kind of like looks at like their right arm, and then kind of just like looks at it and just like flicks it out like every now and then, just looks at it curiously, just like, and then it just goes back in again.
I am not particularly sure. That was with me when I washed ashore here. But it is useful, and it appears to be a conduit to some magic. A strange magic. Magic not unfamiliar to these islands, of course, or so I've read. But, well, you can imagine, many here were curious. But Eza kept me safe. And then, well, I apologize, I am talking a lot about myself. You have all been under a great deal of stress. You have all done a very good job to make it this far. And just trust a stranger.
Don't have much choice in this circumstance.
That is true.
You appear to be tentacle-less as well, so that is a step in the right direction.
Yes, I did notice you were concerned that you may also have some nose to 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘆 Quartermaster of the Polaris, but you do not appear to be sprouting any at the current point. So that is a good start.
Yes, indeed. Forgive me for asking another question about yourself, but I feel like now would be a perfect opportunity to get to know one another when we are trapped in a house, when the whole island is perhaps attempting to kill us.
Yes, that's true. This isn't particularly friendly visit, is it? I almost forgot. Haha. Please go ahead.
You mentioned your acid is a father figure to you.
Yes.
Has this individual been with you for all of your iterations?
No. Only on Acherin Island. A disciple of Finton here on the island. He only took me in before I was awake, once I washed ashore. So, well, many here thought I was out of commission permanently. Some wish to experiment, as my kind is rarely seen, especially on this island. I, of course, understand the impulse, but I'm glad Ezra protested, even when he too wondered if I was permanently gone. Perhaps worried I was like other more heard-of members of my kind. Morist experimentation would have taken me apart, you see, and that would have been a bad end, so I am glad he took me in. Another like me, not born with the same blood as I, but strangers to the island. He also took in, as it was very good as his words and joyful and popular among many here while he was here. I miss him.
He sounds like a good man.
Yes, he was. I do hope he is well. I do not know about before then, so it makes it difficult, but I am glad to meet new people. An esteemed doctor, and a quartermaster. And what position do you hold? Nyzen?
I'm a junior navigator.
Junior navigator?
Yes, our senior navigator and lookout is doing some reconnaissance in the forest.
Oh dear. Hopefully they are well. I'm sure they're well. Sorry. I need to get better at my positivity.
Alright. What is there that we can do?
Yes.
Of course. Well, we have already discussed there appears to be no smell here. And, there is some memory loss, which Quartermaster Nerys 𝘗𝘁𝘍𝘢𝘪𝘆 is still suffering from. And you also seem somewhat familiar of it, Dr. Alton Bainron of the Polaris. Yes?
I mean, the symptom, not the cause.
The symptom, not the cause. Interesting.
It seems a bit more serious than regular brain fog.
Well, I cannot offer much help. I am very sorry about this. You're all more learned than I. The other two beside your small captain, as I mentioned, were the mayor and the sister of the Acherin church. Perhaps there is something there. Otherwise, you had mentioned your task was to retrieve the stranger, 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘁. He has been here for some months. And he also smelt of sulfur.
So we either reinterrogate him, or we go to investigate the church. That is my understanding, is it not?
The issue that we have is that we don't know if that is the real 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘁. It could be an individual similar to the captain.
I agree.
This is a well-considered concern.
However, that means that if we do find where our captain is located, we may also find our quarry, the real one.
This one might be a bit more keen to actually go home.
Yes, he acted very odd. I think it probably makes sense if that is not him.
Friday, you mentioned
There's the
that
𝘍𝘢𝘵𝘮𝘭𝘭𝘪 of the Polaris.
you may just refer to me as Nerys if you choose. It does save some time.
Efficient, a good idea, Nerys.
You mentioned that Esset was a disciple of the deity Fintin.
Yes.
You also mentioned that one of the individuals is a esteemed member of the local church.
Yes.
Is that church dedicated to Fintin?
Is it Darby?
The
I can't
church,
actually
the
remember.
church is dedicated primarily to Fintin and 𝘭𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘁.
Here on Acherin Island, I do not know if it is the same wherever you all hail from, but they worship both Fintin and 𝘭𝘭𝘭𝘪𝘁. Sister 𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘭𝘪 oversees both.
And you... Nerys kind of sits back in his chair and kind of looks at or sits back on the floor where he's not moved. And kind of looks back up at the roof. And you can see that he's kind of, cogs are turning.
Rue also looks up at the roof.
Esset, you mentioned also was well respected in the town, no?
Yes, he was very popular, very good with his words.
Do you believe his popularity, at least in some small part, was descended from his faith?
I believe so.
So the people of this community respected their faith, and they would attend mass gatherings on certain days, I'm assuming?
I presume they would, wouldn't they, Darby? From my understanding of it.
Yeah, not as commonly as you think of like church on Sunday or something like that, but there are religious ceremonies that are fairly regular.
There are many ceremonies and rites, yes.
There is, again, that certain level of respect that one would give to someone of the same faith, of almost higher standing in the same faith.
I believe so.
They would potentially let their guard down.
Possibly.
What do you think the chances are of that church being some form of localized area for this creature?
For the sickness to take root. It is a possibility. This is a good suggestion. I admit I must have not been paying close enough attention to everyone. I am not very popular here.
Why are you not very popular?
The kind of like light behind their eyes kind of dims a bit, and sort of like it's like a blue light. It kind of like mutes a bit, so it's like less saturated.
There were strange accusations, and of course, even here on this island, word of others like me, who may have caused great trouble on another land. Well, that also stuck, I suppose. And of course, I don't seem to be very fond of ham. You know, when people go missing sometimes, they accuse ham, but ham would never do that. They like eating many things, pretty much everything, but you know, I'm sure they wouldn't eat a person or a bird.
They would eat many small things like the bones of the creatures out on your front doorstep.
Yes. Ham is their favorite, of course. And they're very good. They've probably only stolen a ball once or twice.
I'll say that Alton, this is the side, Alton is very, with the previous conversation, very like withdrawn and tense and kind of like darting looks around the windows, just very uncomfortable. But as the conversation changes, he's kind of just like still very uncomfortable, but he'll just kind of be like, so have you ever tried feeding him a human? I mean, how would you know if you haven't tried?
Well, life is precious to me. It would be strange to want to feed a human to ham, wouldn't it? Would you do that? Sorry, that's a personal question.
Please, I don't need you to answer that.
Good.
No, fine, your
Different
privacy
subject.
is very important. Mm.
Well, yes,
Right.
indeed.
So we're dealing
Yes.
with a fucking cult, are we?
Some sort of sickness. I suppose we will have to see. It is worth investigating.
So the church, then.
Perhaps we could take a small moment just to relax, get to our bearings, and then we can go to the church.
Yes. Did you require sustenance? I have.
And Rue kind of like looks around like
Some herbs and meat. Maybe tea. I could probably combine that to make tea. Do you like tea?
I admit I don't believe we've ever tried a meat and herb tea.
Is that something you'd like?
Yeah, sounds good, says Alton, like obviously not properly listening.
Oh, excellent. I will try to make it now. I think I remember how Ezet used to make tea. It has been a long time and I don't normally drink it.
Okay.
Rue starts to like just
So,
creep around.
yeah. So as Rue prepares you this meat and herb tea, for those consuming it, it is revolting.
It's probably like a soup, honestly. They've got like lavender and like a garlic and like
Yeah.
ham floating around.
Like
Rue doesn't have a great sense of taste though, so
Yeah. You complete a short rest, which is enough, Nerys and Alton,
At
for
what
you
cost?
to recover from your mind fog. You are no longer memory drained. Alton, you get back all your short rest things as a fighter. Nerys, you can use, I think your main thing is your and I believe you can
I can do a
regain
couple of
port.
things
Yeah.
in a short test. Yeah,
Yes.
we good you.
Yeah.
I will let you know. Nerys is also back up at full hit points.
Yes.
it's the tea.
For listeners, yes.
It's not the tea.
Nerys's signature item gives him gives him a recharge of portent once per day.
Rue just like sits there holding a little teacup, like they don't drink from. They're just like, but their eyes are like a very bright blue, just like as they're watching you. Probably both of you try to like have a rest and like suffer through the tea they've attempted to make. You can probably hear like some thudding and like some little like noises out the back, but that's probably ham, you imagine, because the ooze was a lot quieter moving around. And Rue doesn't seem concerned, so that's probably also a clue that that's probably normal around here.
Nice. I think Alton probably would be very jumpy at any noises, but
All right.
and just like takes one sip of the tea, just looks extremely nauseous, and then just puts it down again.
All right. So, so you complete your rest, and I take it make your way back to town towards the church.
Yeah, if we head out, Rue is very wary. And yeah, Ham probably doesn't accompany us in a way that we can see. But
Okay.
Rue will probably just sort of like be very much on the lookout for mouth tentacles at all times. I don't know if we're stealthing it. We're just normally walking. I'm not sure.
Nerys is attempting to stealth.
Yes.
It's a very stealthy body.
Yes.
That's fair.
Nyzen will attempt to stealth if the order of the day
If
is
that's
stealth.
discussed. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
If that's discussed, Rue will also stealth.
Ooh. Oh, I rolled a double nat 1.
Oh my gosh.
This will
That's
go
an
well.
8.
This bodes well. It's an 11 from for Rue.
Nyzen didn't roll well. Nyzen's total is a 5.
That's
What's-
the rogue!
What's Alton's total?
8.
8. Nerys?
Nerys is also a 5.
No!
What are
Rue?
we doing?
We're the worst people. 11.
11. So the stealthiest, and that's still only at an 11, is the big clanky metal man.
Yep. Well, there, no. Yeah. It seems to, just has a lot of, little scraps of metal in their pocket, clearly.
Yeah.
We spontaneously break out into song about silence
Yeah.
as we're going down. Oh, we're sneaky, we're sneaky.
This is
we're
very
sneaky.
exciting. I'm enjoying sneaking. This is fun. I mean, it's terrible, obviously, because of all the mouth tentacles.
All right.
But it's fun.
You don't have anything interrupt you. Doesn't mean that.
That's worse.
Yeah. So something might be aware of you, but you don't get any interruptions before you reach the church.
For reference as well, remembering the attempt to charm Nerys, Nerys has also mentioned to everyone present that there is charming magic that is around, and he has attempted to probably before leaving Rue's place has tried to fashion a set of earplugs. He would look around for something that's usable, like a bit of cotton or something, but he's most likely going to end up with a strip of cotton with a wedge of meat shoved into it, and he's just going to put those to his ears. He's
Alton
not happy
can give
about it,
you
but that's what he's working
bandages.
with.
Oh, Nerys. That's fair.
You didn't
great.
use any of your hit dice to patch yourself up, or
Oh no, he did. This is attempting to block his ears
okay.
from any. Yeah.
Noise.
That's fair.
Rue will probably try to help if Nerys raised that to them, but yeah. Yeah, I think that this suggests they've got spare masks and stuff like that, but I don't know if they would have earmuffs of any kind.
Okay.
Maybe there's a very old fluffy set of earmuffs, I don't know, but yeah. Bandages and meat sound great. Good luck.
So, as you go into the church, can I have a marching order, please? I will bring up one of these maps that is appropriate. So it's easy enough to get into the church. It's not locked. It is entering it. There is a small corridor, about 5 foot wide, and then it opens into a large 25 foot by 25 foot room with rounded corners.
Is there a smell of sulfur?
There's a light smell of sulfur, but mostly coming from outside.
I think when Nerys, when we got to, because the church is near the center of the town, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna take a little bit of that jerky that he's got in his ear, and he's gonna use that as a spell focus, and he's gonna cast mage armor on himself.
All right. So what is the marching order here between the four of you?
Rue first.
Rue first?
Alton will probably be at the back because he's quite hesitant to enter the church.
Yep.
Visibly so.
And Nerys, are you going to hang towards the back or further forward?
Probably a little bit further back.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll go Rue, Nyzen, Nerys, Alton. All right. So, entering the church, as you kind of spread out here, you make note of... can everyone roll me a perception check, actually, as you're entering?
Nine.
12.
10.
Oh, I'm so glad.
We're doing so well today.
I'm so glad that the fate of Tibble and potentially Fishman are in our hands.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a new D20.
Actually, what is...
Come on, Nyzen. You're our only hope.
Nyzen, that's a dirty 20. And
Yes.
Rue, you feel Nyzen's hand on your shoulder as he said, "Careful. She's Ooze ahead." And you look up to see what he's pointing at, to see upon the stone platform in the center of the church, a roiling purple ooze that seems to be bubbling away.
Is that normal? This is not normal for Acherin Island. Just as a starter. Have any of you seen this before?
No. That's not normal.
And that, as the ooze starts to spring to life, is where we are going to leave it for this week's episode.
Oh boy.
As it lunges towards you.
It'll be fun. This will be
collective.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
This is fun.
We good. We Gucci.
We Gucci. It's great.
All right. Thank
See
you.
you next week, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, guys. It turns out it was not Gucci.
Yeah. Oh no.
Y'all are doing amazing, sweeties.
We're rolling like shit.
Rolls
This
are
entire
so
session.
bad.
I've not rolled
Oh
well at
my
all. I
God.
need a new D20. This has gone horribly.
I'm switching between like digital and physical, and they're both so bad. I rolled a double that one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, how did you do that? That's not okay.
The only decent thing I've rolled has been the first initiative, which was just us running away, and then I pre-rolled for healing, which no one needed. So, alas,
Oh, yeah.
fun.